Whew, man, first time in a long time I'm doing one of these. But, hey, what is up, you guys? It is Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler Williams channel. And welcome to your review of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Guys, I just got off AEW not too long ago. I was not able to do well, technically I was able to do a live stream today, but by the time I got home and settled in, I didn't want to live stream, so I just ended up watching. I didn't watch any NXT tonight. Well, I watched like the very last minute of the Charlotte Flair Bianca Belair match, but I watched all Dynamite in its entirety, uninterrupted, for the most part. So, all in all, 3 weeks straight, I thought Dynamite was great. I thought this was another great episode of Dynamite. They've just been killing it every single week for the month of February, really. This is the kind of content that you want to see, and I definitely see myself buying AEW Revolution this Saturday. Because, you know, we're so used to WWE Network and pay-per-views being $9.99 a month that when it comes time to pay for a pay-per-view for $60 a month or $50 a month, you're like, is it really worth it? Put it this way, with the lineup that they have for Revolution and the past few weeks of just great television, I think it is very much worth my $50. So, I'm definitely watching it this Sunday, just based off these last 3 episodes alone. Not even, if you don't even base off the lineup alone, just the last 3 episodes are great. But that being said, let's get straight into our review. So the first match we started off hot here. I didn't expect them to start off with the Ironman match, but we start off this show with Kenny Omega versus PAC. And by God, I will say this is probably the best match AEW Dynamite has had so far. And I'm not just saying that because, it was a 30-minute match. This was like really like pound for pound a really good match. I'm not gonna sit here and say, the cleaner, the best bout machine, New Japan, Kenny Omega's back, but I think we saw some glimpses of that in this match. There were definitely a lot of points where we saw a lot of high action and kind of like moves he would do in Japan. Not so much working the strong style and, stiff elbows and you seeing the sweat fly off of each other. Not so much that. But just, I guess because I've been watching New Japan for so long, I can kind of see when Kenny's working a New Japan-esque match and when he's not. And 90% of the time, he's working a Showman American-style match. This was the closest thing you're going to get to New Japan Kenny Omega in AEW. We saw it here. I would say of the 3 matches they had, this is definitely the best one. Now, I ain't gonna lie. First 10 minutes, they were feeling each other out, doing a few things. Not too much happened the first 10 minutes. We might have got one dive. It did start off kind of hot at first, and then it kind of mellowed down like that 18-minute mark, and it started to slow down a little bit. PAC started taking control. 15 minutes in, shit started picking up. By 14 minutes, PAC done clocked Kenny Omega in the head with a chair. Now, mind you, full view of the referee clocked this guy in the head with a chair and gets DQ'd. The announcers managed to bring up this is the first DQ in AEW Dynamite. And I said, wow, it took them 6 months to do a DQ. I can't fault them for that. And you guys know I'm never really too much big a fan of DQs, but it's the first. And it's in the Ironman match. There's still more falls to go. I don't got an issue with this. Kenny Omega gets the first point off a DQ. He gets back into the ring. PAC does. The referee's counting, 7, 8, 9, and Kenny's still laid down on the ground and gets back into the ring. By the time he gets back into the ring, the Young Bucks, they're like trying to distract the ref, like, hey, look at him, like they're distracting the referee basically. And PAC clocks him in the head again with a chair. And now Kenny's down and he's all disoriented and shit. About a half a minute later, he gets up to the top rope, hits his black arrow Kenny Omega. 1, 2, 3. Now PAC has a win. So now it's 1-1. So after that black arrow and the 2 chair shots to the head, now Kenny's all disoriented, doesn't know what's going on and whatnot. And the next 5-7 minutes is just PAC beating down Kenny, and it's just really cool. Seeing Kenny Omega make that comeback, even though it took a very long time. It was very dramatized, but it's professional wrestling. What do you expect? 10 minutes in, they come back from commercial break. And this fool, PAC, hits Kenny Omega with a goddamn Falcon Arrow off the apron straight on the outside, and their body just goes splat on the mat. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, they doing a lot of shit right now. This is crazy. So by the 7-minute mark, PAC has set up a table on the outside, and I'm like, is this a no DQ match? It can't be, because he got disqualified. So how's all this shit happening right now? So PAC sets up a table. By the time I blink my eyes, Kenny's on the table. I'm like, oh shit. So PAC goes to the top rope and busts out a shooting star press on the outside on a Kenny through a table. Like, this shit's wild. They do it. They going all out in the very beginning. So this show better crack like 900,000 views. That's all I know. So now they're on the outside. PAC gets in the ring by 7. Kenny Omega looks like he's not going to make it. The Young Bucks get him up and throw him in the ring by 9.9. Kenny Omega is getting beat down some more. He starts to come back a little bit. Manages to hit a reverse run on the PAC. By the time he starts to come back just a little bit, hits a tilt-a-whirl on the PAC. PAC turns that around into a submission and locks it in on Kenny Omega. I don't remember what he calls it in AEW. I just know it's the Rings of Saturn in WWE, but it's obviously not the Rings of Saturn. He locks a submission in. We're currently at like the 3-minute mark at this point, and Kenny Omega's trying to reach, and by like 2 minutes he reaches the ropes. He has to let go. Starts moving around a little bit. PAC resupplies it. And I'm like, that's fucking smart. That's how you run out the clock. Now, why would you run out the clock when they're both tied? Unless he's a little worried he might actually lose to Kenny Omega. See, it's shit like that that makes me like, this makes sense. I like this. This is good storytelling. That's how you tell a story. So, by this time, now we're at like 30 seconds in. Kenny Omega's trying to fight. He's trying to verse into a pin, but he's still stuck in a submission. And he's struggling, and now we're at 10 seconds, and you're begging Kenny Omega not to tap out, because that would have been corny as fuck if he tapped out like 1 second left, because that's happened before, and you're just like, what the fuck? But Kenny Omega managed to stay in, and bell goes off, and both men are tied at 1. So, the PAC attacks the referee right after the bell rings. Don't know why, but it's like, you were the one who had him in submission the whole time. If you realize it wasn't working, you should have did a Sonata, let go, and try for a Black Arrow. I'm just saying. So anyway, Justin Roberts gets on the microphone, and he says he just got word that this match will continue under sudden death rules. Now, they didn't explain what sudden death rules means. I was assuming that they had like only a little bit of time left to get a pin, and if neither man gets a pin, then they're stuck with like just a tie. So immediately bell rings, Kenny Omega V-triggers his ass, hits a ripcord V-trigger, then a motherfucking Kamaguye on a PAC. I marked out Loki. Goes up, hits him with a one-winged angel, and gets the pin. Kenny Omega winning this match via overtime. I thought it was a really good match. I dare even say great match. I will say this, my only nitpick is that I feel like we didn't need the overtime. I felt like what I saw in overtime, what happened in like 1 minute, could have easily happened in the last minute of this match, where Kenny Omega was stuck in a submission the whole time. And then you could have had Kenny Omega win the match. I felt like they went overtime just to get a pop from the crowd, and then Kenny Omega just beat... Like, it wasn't even like a dramatic, like, overtime, like, who's gonna win. Like, as soon as the bell rung, Kenny Omega just darted at him, hit a V-trigger, and then he got all the offense in. That's my only nitpick, but once again, I really enjoyed this match. Great way to start off the show. So after the commercial break, because they go to commercial afterwards, Tony Schiavone's on the ramp with PAC, and he's trying to interview him, and PAC's like, fuck off. Out comes, of all people, Orange Cassidy. Why did Orange Cassidy come out? I don't know. It was the oddest choice for someone to stand up to PAC. He comes out, hands in his pockets, glasses on. He gets over to PAC, standing face to face, takes the glasses off. Shit's about to get serious. And PAC's wondering, like, alright, so when are the clowns coming out to tell me that this is all a joke? Chuck Taylor and Trent never came out, so he attacks Orange Cassidy. I'm not calling them clowns. It's just a joke. So PAC attacks Orange Cassidy, and that's kind of the end of that. I don't know why that happened. I wrote down, I don't know why that happened, but we'll find out later tonight. So then we go backstage with Jen Decker, and she's trying to get a word from Chris Jericho. She knocks on the door of the, what does it say? The Painmaker Posse is kind of their new nickname of the Inner Circle, which I'm all a fan of. Jake Hager answers the door. She says, so can I speak to Chris Jericho? Can I speak to Chris Jericho? And that was the segment. I'm like, all right, let's get to the next match. So then we have Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt versus the Inner Circles, Pride and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz, and Sammy Guevara. The bell rings and J.E. just starts cleaning fucking house. Like, they're just going at each other all over the place. Dives from Jungle Boy, and Marco's doing his thing, and Luchasaurus is kicking people and shit. And I will say this again. If they do this, because I've been hearing some rumors swirling around about them talking about potentially doing a trios championship. I'm all for this. If for nothing else, because Jurassic Express as a trio is one of, if not the best thing in AEW. Every single week they're on, it's something I gotta sit down and I gotta watch, because they always come up with some innovative move. Marco Stunt's being thrown around someplace into some move, or he's having some awesome selling going on, and Jungle Boy's making that fiery comeback. Luchasaurus coming in and fucking kicking people's head off and shit. Like, it's just so awesome to see them in action. So they need to get their heads on that, or after they're done with the whole Kenny Omega Heyman Page thing, they could put the tag titles on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. But I feel like Marco Stunt makes that faction what it is as well. So trios titles are preferred. But if not, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus for tag team champions. Anyway, go to commercial break after that. They come back. Marco's getting beat down, because of course he is. He gets the hot tag Luchasaurus. He starts running wild. Marco Stunt. He starts running wild a little bit. So I don't remember how Marco was in this position. But he ends up jumping off the top rope and hits a Rana on Ortiz. Now, mind you, Jungle Boy has Santana in like this vertebraker, which I always cringe at because that's such a dangerous move. So I guess the point was Marco was going to leap off the top rope and hit a stomp to Santana into the vertebraker. But Ortiz got away, so he hits a Rana onto him. Luchasaurus comes in, axe kicks Sammy downwards into the vertebraker. I'm like, this shit is crazy, bro. What's going on? Get a little deeper into it. As soon as Sammy Guevara sees the butter sock or the tennis ball sock or whatever kind of material is inside of the sock that Santana Ortiz carries around with him, he grabs the sock. He's about to wail on Jungle Boy, but Darby Allin out of nowhere comes out, takes the ball away from Sammy. Sammy's all like, "Woo, give me back. Turns around, Jungle Boy hits a Hurricanrana roll through onto Sammy Guevara and gets the pin. Jurassic Express win this match. I thought it was a pretty fine tag team match. Let me not say pretty fine. I thought it was a good tag team match. I thought it was good. We also got some cue cards from Darby Allin in picture-in-picture. Great use of commercial break, by the way. We also got a really cool promo package for MJF versus Cody. We had no MJF, and we had no Cody on this show. Now, exactly, did they need to be on the show after the Steel Cage match last week? Technically, no. So this promo package, I think, made up for it. I'm still excited for that match. There's so much to be excited about at AEW Revolution. I'll get into that in tomorrow's video, but continue with the rest of the show. The Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent versus The Butcher and The Blade. I thought this was, I can't tell you how this was, because I honestly was wild. I'll be honest, this is the match. I'm like, I'll see what's going on Twitter. So I was kind of in and out of this match. I was really paying too much attention. All I know is that Best Friends won. That's really all I know to happen. After the match, we got the announcement. At AEW Revolution, we will be getting Orange Cassidy in his first singles match versus PAC. So that's when we got the little interaction from those two earlier in the night. And that was enough to get them a pay-per-view match, I guess. But if for nothing else, we're getting our first ever Orange Cassidy singles match. And there's no other reason for you to pay $50 for this pay-per-view. It's to see... Fuck it. I'm too excited. It's to see Orange Cassidy beat PAC's ass. I'm telling you guys, for all of you who have never seen Orange Cassidy actually wrestle, this guy's fucking good. You just haven't seen him do anything yet. I'm excited for that match, not gonna lie. I'm not expecting him to start, actually beating PAC up, but it's gonna be good. I can't wait. Then we get into the next match. We have Yuka Sakazaki, who had her old theme song, her old Tokyo Joshi Pro. She had that theme. I was on cloud nine, man. That theme rocked so hard. We had Yuka Sakazaki versus Big Swole versus Hikaru Shida versus Shanna. This was a really fun Fatal 4-Way match. If AEW can manage to have, I'm not saying they gotta do Fatal 4-Ways every single week, because that's just not gonna work. But if they can manage to do, like, fun tag matches with the women like this, because I don't know what it is about the other matches they have, like, the ones with, I'm not saying all Chris Statlander matches suck, but I've seen a few matches, I'm just like, eh. Or there was a few matches that happened on Dynamite Brain, I'm just like, eh. Or the matches with Mel. With Chris Statlander, I still remember that match. I'm just like, this is why I'm not watching this shit. But this was like, okay, I got my eyes on it. Everyone's getting their moves in. They're doing some pretty high impact moves. Like, this was actually really fun to watch. Not gonna name blow by blow what happened, but after a series of moves and counters from Big Swole and Yuka, Shida runs out of nowhere, hits a running knee on a Big Swole, and gets the pin. So Hikaru Shida wins this match. She should be moving up in the rankings very soon. Great to see Yuka Sakazaki back. She's doing what Riho isn't. Former AEW Women's Champion. Not even on the show. Anyway, we go to commercial break. During this commercial break, we get a Dark Order promo. So they're talking about how the Exalted One is going to be not coming to Revolution, but he'll deliver a message to Christopher Daniels or something like that. And he told us, Christopher Daniels would find out that he's truly obsolete. Obsolete, you say? I think this is probably the third Matt Hardy reference we've gotten on AEW television. If we don't get Matt Hardy as the Exalted One, I'm going to be disappointed, honestly. They've been hinting at it way too much for it to not be Matt Hardy. And now they've been hinting at it too much for him to actually be Matt Hardy, because you're going to see it coming, but you're still going to be excited, but it's like, damn, can y'all not make it that damn obvious, you know what I mean? We know for a fact it isn't Lance Archer, because later in the show, they did announce that Lance Archer will be making his debut on AEW Dynamite next week in Denver. So I don't think they would have announced Lance Archer if he was the Exalted One, because why would they want to ruin the surprise like that? So he's not it. So it boils down to Matt Hardy, Brody Lee, or Christopher Daniels. I think it's the former. Anyways, after that, we then get a Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and Young Bucks sit-down interview with Jim Ross. I thought this was a well-executed interview. It really showed just how awkward Hangman Page is with just everyone else in this situation. Like, you could obviously tell he's the odd man out in all this. Like, he's always just like there drinking his beer, letting them talk, or he's interrupting Kenny. Like, Kenny, we talk about how I think Kenny said something along the lines of, oh, well, you know, we kind of ended up in this position and here we are. And Page is like, so you're saying this is situational? Like Hangman Page was kind of like nitpicking what Kenny was saying and like, oh, well, it's like that? Like, really? Like, and Kenny's like, oh, I didn't mean like that, da 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 da. And the Young Bucks are just like, what the fuck? Like, bro, chill out. And then Young Bucks are talking about something. And then Hangman Page cuts them off. And then fucking Nick Jackson starts going off on this dude. I forgot exactly what Hangman Page said, but he got Nick Jackson heated. He got mad heated too. Matt Jackson started saying you were a jobber, Ring of Honor. We bought you in the Bullet Club and look at you now. You're a star and you're gonna do this to us. How dare you do this to us? We made you. We did this. We did that. I'm like, bro, where's this all coming from? Like, what did he say? I can see why this dude doesn't want to be here. Doesn't want to talk to them. Doesn't want to be with Kenny. Like, I can sympathize. I can empathize. I can empathize with Hangman Page. So when this dude's out here drinking and he just wants to be away from everybody else, I can totally understand. I'm not saying his friends are dicks, but he doesn't fit in with that crowd. We go back to Hangman Page possibly turning on Kenny Omega. When he turns, I'm still gonna yell yeehaw. I'm not booing this man. He did nothing wrong. So that's building up to the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega tag team match at Revolution. Also really excited for that as well. Then we get the weigh-in. Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho comes out with the Inner Circle, squad deep with the track jackets on to say the Paymaker Posse. It was really ill, not gonna lie. So they all come down. Don't really want to comment on the ladies in it. No, I'm not gonna comment on them. But they come down to the ring. So Moxley gets on a scale. He's 234. Jericho gets on a scale. He doesn't even get on the scale. Well, first he gets on the scale with the title. And then he's like, oh, let me take the title off. It's going to weigh me down. And then he starts walking around meandering. The crowd starts booing. And he's like, shut the fuck up. And, you know, this guy is a piece of shit and something like that. He didn't say shut the fuck up, but he did say somebody from that city's a piece of shit. Just buying time. And I'm like, there's only 3 minutes left. Like, why are you buying time? Like, are you gonna step on a scale or what? Like, now maybe Chris Jericho's a little self-conscious. I mean, he has been letting himself go. Yeah, we can't just not talk about this. Chris Jericho has been getting a little chubby lately, so maybe he didn't want to step on the scale and tell everybody how much he weighs. Probably over 300 pounds. He gets all up in Jon Moxley's face, and this dude straights up Shibatas his ass. Just Shibatas him right in the face. Chris Jericho falls down, and this dude, and you know it's real, because the dude starts bleeding, and you could see the cut, like, right next to his eyebrow, where, like, the head-on collision happened. And he's, like, not, like profusely bleeding all over the place, but like blood's dripping down his nose and shit. It's just like, wow. Now fights are breaking now, and everyone's attacking Jon Moxley, and you're sitting here wondering, like, damn, Moxley has no friends whatsoever. That's crazy. And out comes Dustin Rhodes. He goes at Jake Hager to go backstage. Out comes Darby Allin. He goes at Sammy Guevara. Guevara takes the skateboard and busts it over his head, and the brawl kind of continued from there. Jericho and Moxley then met back up in the middle of the ring. Moxley hits he tries for his Death Rider, but he gets low blow by Santana. Chris Jericho hits his Judas effect, then hits a Death Rider or Paradigm Shift, whatever it's called, onto the scale. And that's how we go off the air with Dynamite. Not the strongest end, not the world's strongest end, but definitely a nice end to the show. I thought overall it was another great show by Dynamite, and like I said earlier in the review, it's definitely enough to get me to buy AEW Revolution this Saturday. I already was going to buy it, but this is definitely a guarantee for me. So that's my very quick, very fast and energetic review of AEW Dynamite. As you could see, I had like so much fun watching this show. I just like, all right, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. I'm normally not this energetic with my reviews. When I'm doing New Japan, it's usually like fucking 7 a.m. in the morning, so I'm like dead asleep and shit, but like it's 10 p.m., so, you know, I'm ready to do this shit, you know what I mean? Anyway, guys, that's my review of AEW Dynamite. What did you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know. Tomorrow we'll be getting out my review for WWE NXT. I love you guys always, and I'll see you all tomorrow for my review of NXT and my preview for AEW Revolution. Hey, did you enjoy that review? I know I did. Now, normally I don't do reviews for AEW Dynamite or NXT. It's kind of here and there, you know, once a blue moon. But one thing I do normally do on Wednesday nights is live stream here on YouTube. My live reactions to AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. For more clips, reviews, and live reactions like this, please consider subscribing to the Tyler-kun channel. Love you guys always, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out, guys.